Okay, if you are getting me, that is great. Okay. So now, which means I will begin the whole program of praise. So you can just inform those who might have been discouraged by the situation, but we have no options. The mic that I was using was not right, so I brought the one that always used by pilot, and you have seen it here. So I brought for pilot. Okay, let me just stop the video. Now, uh, the topic is about how South Sudan economy can be improved. That the question that was posed to me by my colleague that I should be talking about. Another part of the question is how China can help South Sudan improve its economy. So if that's the case, personally, I say there is no immediate solution to improve South Sudan economy. There are some activities that can be done, but they should not be immediate. You should not believe that it will happen in just a single day. Uh, a minimum that I can say, if these things are done, maybe 6 months, and if these things are done after 6 months, a minimum of 6 months, we can see a little changes in our economy. The first thing that I will talk about, I have 6 points to discuss, but I have ranked them according to the immediacy. What if it's going to be done, if it can bring immediate effects. And the last one, the sixth one, is a long term. So I've arranged them according to the immediacy to the one that can delay. The first thing that I have been talking about is the opening the cross-border trade between South Sudan and Sudan. You know, Sudan has ballot of food commodities, and these food commodities, they have no market except Sudan and South Sudan. But since the border has been closed, we only survive things that are coming from Uganda. And you know, our infrastructures are very poor. Transporting things from Uganda through our hub roads up to Awil, up to Kwajok, up to Ventio, up to Rang, it's not very easy. It is very costly. The vehicle take three months on the way. And how it delay like that, it makes things to be very expensive. So the immediate one to open a cross-border trade with Sudan. If the cross-border trade is open with Sudan, the foods from Sudan and other commodities will supply the Afan Nile and Baragazar regions. And this region, they will stabilize. You know, this region, they have huge populations. And if this region is stabilized, the only thing that we are getting from East Africa, they will remain only in Equatoria, and those who are only sitting in Juba here. So third of the thing that we are just bringing from East Africa, it will only be consumed in Juba. So traders will be posed by the situation itself. There will be no uniform pricing. The reason why there is uniform pricing now is because we have shortage of goods. So if goods are very, very little in the market, traders, they make a cartel down that we don't see, and that cartel fix the prices all over. You go every shop, whether downs or anywhere. Yes, Jock, are you not getting me? Hello? Okay, don't disturb because I'm talking. Huh? Class, you just stop. Let me continue. There are some others who are already there. So, because the reason why they are curtailing now is because there is shortage of goods, and people should not use gun or force them to reduce their prices. Prices that are regulated by demand and supply. So if the other part of the region, like Upper Nile region and Barakazar regions, gets access food from Sudan, then the only thing that are coming from East Africa will remain in Equatoria. And if they remain in Equatoria, the demand will go down by itself. Only few people who are here in Equatoria, as you've seen currently, majority of people in special central Equatoria, they have been displaced by the war. Only those who are in Cuba. So the demand will go down. And if the demand go down, the natural forces of demand and supply will regulate the market itself. And if that situation is there, situation will force traders to abandon uniform pricing because you will be sitting in the shop for 3 months. You will be sitting for 4 months without somebody buying your thing. So you have to use your mind to sell your good at your own prices. So you will see there will be variation between prices from shop to shop, from market to market. And if that situation comes in, competition will set in. And if there is a competition, prices will regulate itself. And then there will be no point of using gun or sending national security to threaten people to reduce prices. So that is when we open a border trade with Sudan. The second point is about improving tax system. Some countries in the world are surviving because of tax. They train their people, they send them outside to go and work, and they get taxes. And one example is Jewish state of Israel, the Republic of Moldova and Eastern Europe, and even Kenya itself. Kenya is getting a lot of money from outside. If you see the advertising about we get this money from diaspora, these are Kenyan working in New York, they're working in South Sudan, they're working everywhere, but they are paying the tax back to the government. How do those money go? Because those countries have developed their tax system. We are having money, but we don't have the tax system. We have a tax, but that system is not working. The reason why I say it's not working, I have 2 points that I'm going to share. Once, the way we collect our tax, the way we remit into government shape, and the way they disappear there on the way is a big problem. So if we have a transparent and accountable tax system, it will bring revenue to the government. We have fiscal budget. This fiscal budget as a deficit is not complete. We have little money that may come from the crude oil, and people are just saying we need donors. Where do you think that people can donate for your fiscal budget? Nowhere. So you have to do things for yourself. You say we have 20 billion pounds for my fiscal year. You have to generate them. We already have an asset. Our oil is breaking part, but because we neglect our tax system, we allow it for some people to the one benefiting. That's why we have a deficit. So if you have improved a tax system that will be transparent and accountable, where things that are collected at the border should be known, where tax system will be introduced inside here. We are only paying the VAT, and that the tax system is not there. Like if you move to this country, some of the countries that you are in, because I've seen some of you are outside of the country, everything you buy in the shop, there is a tax. And this situation is not here. We have foreigners that are working that are not taxed. It is only the government that tax them. But it is not there. There is no country in the world that have that. Only diplomats that are not taxed in the country that they are working. But another human being working in any part of the world, they are taxed by the government. If you go to Kenya here and you have a church work that is going to more than 3 months, you must be forced to pay tax. Unless it is a consultancy that may end within 2 months or less, that way it should not be taxed. But the more you stay there and you work there, the more you pay tax. Now, we don't have that tax system. We don't tax food commodities that are being consumed to the final consumers. Final consumers, they don't pay tax. We don't get tax from the hotels. They will know the big hotelier like investment in Juba is about hotels. We don't get tax from those things. The same to other parts of the country, we don't get tax. The few tax that we have, they go to individual pockets. So we have a transparent system that will collect that tax from the border and prevent it from going to individual pocket, and collect other tax that we ignore and that we, because of our negligence, it will finance a government fiscal budget. And if there is that enough money, government project and program will be funded. I will allow you to ask questions when I reach to the last point, then I proceed to the next question. And anyone who may add some point, because some of you have seen, you can contribute more than what I'm doing. The third point about investing in human capitals. Investing in human capitals, for a country to be called a country, a person that a country possesses is human being. No country without peoples. So it's not about the oils, it's not about the minerals, it's not about whatever, it is about peoples. So if you have people, you neglect them, then you will have problem. You will have no money. The reason why I say about, if you get job for the people, you're a citizen. The citizens, they create business. The business employ other citizens. Now, as you as a government, you take the first group that you employ, you take their businesses, and you take those who have been employed by their own businesses. Now, if that situation is there, what do you expect? The government will get the revenue. There will be no need that the government will be crying for money. But if you neglect your people, they sit under the tree drinking tea for the whole day, criticizing the government failure, doing whatsoever, you will not get anything. You may think that they are the ones suffering, but you are suffering yourself. When government employ people, does not employ people because people need money, it employs people to help the government get money. Because if the government employ you, it begin taxing you. You get money, you invest the money, and it begin taxing your business. You begin employing the others, and then it go like that. So if government creates a job opportunities and begin protecting our people, people are not protected. That's why majority they don't get jobs. It does not mean that there are no jobs. There are no jobs at the government side, but other private sector and other areas that can pay people, there are jobs. But because they are not protected, that's why they are sitting there. Another point here, if you employ people, they get money, they buy in the local markets. And since they buy in the local market, they stabilize the economic activities of the markets. And if the economic activities of the local market are stabilized, what do you expect? This stabilization will contribute to the overall nation economy. Because it just begins as an aggregate at the micro level, and then later it move up to the macro level. So if you neglect the lower level, you don't expect to grow up. There is no how that is begin from roofs. The building is begin from the floor, and then the wall, then the roof comes. So you cannot just jump to a macro economy while you neglected the micro there at the aggregate level. You will never succeed. So if these people are allowed to have chance to get job, to get their rights, then the governments will get revenue. By employment, people give them purchasing power, and if they have purchasing power, the market activities will increase. The activity in the market will be continuous, and if there is a continuous activity in the markets, the economy will just grow little until it will reach a stable level. So this is a third point that I've been talking about. The fourth one is about the internal productions. You have crude oils. You have been using this crude oil for almost 14 years. You don't have refinery. You don't have fuels. And you are the one selling crude oil. That one, I think, is laughable. This is what you should ask yourself. Why do I have a crude oil and I don't have fuels? Creating a refinery is not only to provide a fuel to the local market, but it is also good if it is stabilizing the local market with the fuel. There will be no need of going and buy fuels. People will not be crying getting dollar and purchasing fuel from Kitale, from Eldoret, from Mombasa. But you will have your own fuel inside here. And you have your own fuel inside here. Then the internal consumptions will be high. And if the internal consumption is high, there will be no need of going outside. So government will be the one selling, getting it free from its own production side, selling the people's, and will get money. So government will get revenue. The fuel price will go down by itself. And if the fuel prices go down, the other activities that are linked to fuel prices, like transport costs, they will go down. And if these activities go down, what do you expect? There will be almost an instability in the markets. And if there is stability in the market, then there will be no problem. So people will not be talking about economy crisis. You see, when we have our internal production and we can attend it to local neighbors, like our neighboring countries, there are some countries like Ethiopia. If we link trade with Ethiopia, I think that all of you are aware that Ethiopia having a large population in the regions. And having a large population in the region, anything that you can take into the market can get a customer because the population is high. Only a few people but because if there are many and you take even a stone, there will be somebody who is willing to buy your stones. And if we have linked with Ethiopia, we can have our refinery, we can conduct a pipeline that go to through Paloj, maybe from Bentiu through Paloj to Pagak. That one will bring more money than what we are taking to the international market because the population there is very high. So if we have our internal production, like doing the constructing our own refinery, setting up the transportation channels, then that one will contribute to our economy. But in the long term, maybe 3 years or 2 years too. But the other third thing that I've been talking about, they are very immediate, maybe 6 months. The key points that I'm talking about investing in modern agricultural farming, traditionally we have been subsistence communities where we just cultivate around a small tukuls and we consume that. Sometimes this food may finish before even July, and that's why you see in some communities, some people they even starve to death in olden days. The food finish around June before reaching July. Why? Because we have been relying basically on subsistence farming. I've divided these one point to two more points. The first one, investing in modern agricultural farming. That should be led by the government, not buying tractors and give them to counties. The Ministry of Agriculture and the affiliate should have their big plantation because our land is very fertile. So government should lead with the help from maybe international companies that may invest in the business. So if that the government lead agricultural plantation, that project maybe will be 3 years or less. It will stabilize foods in the country. And if the food is stabilized in the country, there will be no need of importing maize for Janjar or whatsoever from East Africa, or bring other things, sugar from Sudan or anywhere, or Dubai. We have even have our sugar plantations, but we neglect it. It is here in Kondokor, in Mangala. It was there, but it's neglected now. Become a wild sugarcane. It's no longer important. It has been invaded by wheat. So if government can embark on a modern agricultural farming led by the government itself, plus other help from international organizations that may invest in, whether they take 50% of the share or whatsoever, is not a problem. But it is going to work, it will stabilize the market with the foods commodity and other need. So the last point that I'm going to talk about is the empowerment of rural communities. How do government can empower rural communities? There are two main points that the government can do. The threat to the rural communities nowadays is insecurity. If the rural villages are stable, people are not moving from town to town, from village to Uganda, from village to Ethiopia or Sudan, wherever people run to, then they will be settled in their own community, then they'll be working. And if they are working there, they will produce local foods. The local food that they produce, they will consume it and they will sell the surplus to the nearby town. And if the nearby town has stabilized the food, all the nearby town with the villages, then there will be no big problem of food in Juba. So that is the big problem. We need to empower our local rural villages by providing security to them so that they can produce what they can. The next point is we can send the rural agricultural extensions. Like all the states, they have Ministry of Agriculture. But that Ministry of Agriculture has been existing for 14 years and they have been doing nothing. But they're supposed to help strengthen the rural agricultural extension system to train the local people on how to modernize their local farming, to help them form their local cooperatives, and help train them, provide them with seed, protect their local produce from wild animal and birds or human invasion, and provide for them a market for their produce. If this situation is led, then there will be no problems of people coming to town. You see, majority of people that come to town here thinking that they will come and get food, but there is no food. The food is supposed to come from the village. We don't have plantation in Juba. We don't have plantation in Wow and anywhere. There are no plantation. They are supposed to be in villages. And these people are the ones supposed to come and sell their thing to the local town. The local town will be the one supplying it to Juba. Or those who are near to Juba, they can sell, like those who are in Labondo or Kondokoro or any other place, area here. They can bring their goods here to Kirkat, they bring to Gure, they sell it there at the local market. And then those who are in town here, they will go and pick there and come and sell in Juba. So this is what it's supposed to be. So the government is supposed to empower local farmers. And if the local farmers are empowered, food production will be there. If there is food production, there will be no need of talking about economic crisis. The economy will improve by itself. It is a gradual process, not a one day. You don't expect traders to reduce their prices today because the dollar has gone down. These are different things. That one is the money market and that one is the commodity market. They don't respond at the same rate. They have their different response to the changes. So if you have any question, you can just ask me before I go to the other parts of the discussion. Yes, I'm getting you. Yes. I think that one is not cannot control. It is a society economy itself by using posts to control prices. Prices are not controlled by posts; they are controlled by natural forces of demand and supply. If there is a high demand and supply is very little, the prices will shoot up by subsidy. It's not the decision of a trader to do it, but because it's a situation that always for them. You will never succeed in regulating market by shooting people or just forcing. The more you do it, you kill the market itself. Because when you force it like that, those people they will collapse. Because assume that the prices of that tea that you were talking about that has been put down from 50. Assume that they are getting the ingredient for the tea like a sugar, like a tea leaf, the water itself, and then some other like a charcoals. If you calculate the cost of this and they go beyond beyond the prices that the government said now, what do you expect? Maybe 3 to 4 months these local traders they will die immediately. Their shop they will close, and the more they will close, what we will think the human suffering will come. The people will even starve to death in a BI since the government is not supplying. To threatening the local people to reduce prices. If they can reduce and they collapse, they close their shops. Where do you think they will get to? So that one is not a solution. A solution is to do what I've been talking about, making more supply to the market so that competition will set in itself. The demand will be down, supply will be high. And if the supply is high, competition will set in. Traders will be forced by a situation not to keep good for long in the shop sitting without somebody buying it. So they will regulate the market by themselves. They will sell at the price that will attract many customers to finish good from the shop and bringing more. The situation is different. And some of you have known of been Kenyans. This harassment of Kenyan police is not something that has been existing since 90s. So the good thing is always it is not always common. It is just a fear like that, and then it just go. So, but we cannot rely on that. The big problem here we have a labor act. A labor act say everything in the document, but the problem I've already talked about before when I talk about the human capital development. I've already says our people, our youth, our working force that have been neglected, that have been betrayed by the government because they are not being protected. It is not a choice of the employee or a citizen to chase away foreigners, say don't come, or use the xenophobic activities. No. This because the work is always for the government. The government has the laws and regulations. Say this work is supposed to be done by national, and this work need an expert from the globe, whether from neighboring or any other places. It is always there. But since it has been abandoned, and people just think that allowing things to be moved like that will correct things. I already talked about that people have been relying on oils and they forget human beings. And that point, that's why I say a first resource for a country to be called a country is a human being. It is not about the minerals. It's not about whatsoever on the earth or anywhere. It is people's. I've put an example that there are some countries that stabilize their own economy because of human development. I already cited the Jewish state of Israel. They don't have much resources, but they have been training people and send them out, and they are collecting money through these people. The same to Republic of Moldova in Eastern Europe. It's a very poor country, but it's better than South Sudan. They don't have minerals, but they are getting resources through a human capital. They have employed people, and they have sent the people outside to go and do and get job and collect money back. So the issue is, if the government can follow a labor act and employ those who are supposed to be employed and upgrade the skill of those who need upgrading, maybe 3 to 2 months, and get employed, then they will get money. And if they get money, they will invest in businesses, and the government will tax them. They will buy from local market, and the local market will stabilize. So that one is a different case. But the issue is, do government protect you? If the question is no, that's where the point comes in investing in human capital. Okay, another persons, apart from Yona. Okay, let me proceed to the last point, the role of China in helping South Sudan improve economy. I'm going to talk about 6 points also. Why China is qualified to help South Sudan improve its economy. The first point that I'm talking about is a trade between South Sudan and China. A trade is in this form. South Sudan is a source of energy. China is the producer of South Sudan energy. China is the great, having almost more than 60% of investment in our oil field. So, which means if they have that, they are more than the Malaysian, the Indian, and another group that have joined. So, if it's seen it's a producer of our oil, a great producer, then it can improve our economy. If they can invest more machineries, they provide more personnel, they provide more money to increase a production level. The current production level is low. So if the production level increases, then the sales of the crude oil will increase. And if the sale of crude oil increases, the government revenue will increase. And if the government revenue increases, it will finance the fiscal deficits that the government has. And if the government finance all the fiscal deficits, then all the project and the program of the governments will be funded. So that point is what I've been talking about. The second point is about South Sudan as a new market. South Sudan is a new market. Actually, there are no investment in the country. And you know, some countries, like Western countries, they say this place is very insecure. And if it's insecure, they don't invest. But China don't wait. They don't wait for security of the area. They keep on investing. They risk their investment. And since South Sudan is a market, it's a virgin market, which is not exploited, China can help by investing, for example, providing a source of power. With this, what we lack is, the city is being run by generators. And if China can make investment, maybe through the company or through government infrastructures, they can stabilize. If there is a power, investors will come in. Not all the investors fear the insecurity or whatsoever. There are some investors that can invest, but because they are being scared, no power, you cannot generate cannot run a heavy machinery with a generator. That one is very costly. Generator will be keeping collapsing every day, and it will add more costs on the production. So if China can invest in by providing a source of power, investment will come in, and in the investment coming, there will be improvement in the local market. So the third point is China is known to be a considerable source of development fund to South Sudan. It has been financing many government infrastructures. And the current one that I've been talking about, they want to connect roads from Eastern Equatoria, that is at the border of Kenya, to Rumbek, which I'm not sure it will work. But if China is going to continue with that spirit of availing support, developmental supports, then it will improve the economy. For example, if they increase the infrastructure development, like constructing roads, introducing railway that can transport good, bulk good like crude oils from Paluch to any part of the world, or transporting to Kenya, that this one will improve the government revenue. The fourth point that I'm going to talk about is about China is known for capability in its infrastructural development. That's what I've been talking about. If China can connect a pipeline, some of you, I think you know that we have a defunct refinery in Bentiu. It has been constructed around 7 years ago and has never functioned. And some of you know that it was constructed by Russia. This refinery is what have been working, and the transport channel for fuel is connected. For example, connecting the transport channel from Bentiu to Robo to Juba. These routes will supply Central and Eastern Equatoria, as well as Uganda. You know, Uganda, the ships, they fuel either from Dodoma or from Dar es Salaam, or they get it from Mombasa. So if it is supplied up to Nimili to shortest, they will not be wasting their time going and collect from that very far. They will come and buy it here. That's one point. If you connect the same routes from Bentio to Rupa, Kwaiju, Kawil, and Wow and Yempio, it will stabilize the greater Barak Rizal and Western Equatoria. And that one will make access to DRC. As you know, it is only traveling from Yempio to DRC is just a matter of some minutes using a body water. It does not even go more than 20 minutes. So it's a very short distance. So if the pipeline reach up to Yempio, it will boost the economy trade between DRC and Western Equatoria. And if this one is already in place, fuel consumption in those locations that I've been talking about will go down. It will be government the one selling, not people selling. If government is the one selling at affordable price, they have no tax. They get it from the appeal, they bring it to the town. There is no tax like when they're bringing fuel from Kenya. It is taxed by Kenya. It is taxed by Uganda. And that one already increased prices, and the payment of the transportation costs, like paying those companies to bring it here, make the prices go high. But if they are the one producing it in Bentiu, you transport to Juba, no tax. You sell it at the cheap price to the local people. The local people will have the minimum cost on the fuel, and if there is minimum cost on the fuel, other activities that are related to fuel, like transport costs, they will go down. And if the prices go down, then what do you expect? The economy will gradually stabilize. So that is the first point that I've been talking about, that China has capability in infrastructural development. So, and if they use this capability, they can improve our economy. The next point that I'm going to talk about is China as a company specialized in agricultural machineries. They have so many machineries that are there, tractors, whatsoever, and they are redundant. Nobody is buying them. So if they have that machineries and we collaborate with them through companies, through the government infrastructures, and through other means that may make it possible, those machineries can help us modernize our agricultural systems. And if we modernize our agricultural systems, then what do you expect? There will be available food in the markets. And if there is available food in the market, then prices will go down. And if the prices go down, there will be no crisis of hacking prices. So these are 6 points that I've been talking about. Since I've been talking about these 6 points, there's one question from Box that says, what about corruption? Before I will answer the corruption, so if there are any questions, then you can ask before I answer this question from Gai Chol Paul. Actually, the problem is not about the United States as people think about. The problem is about our own problems. It is neither United States nor China or whatsoever. In this geopolitics world, there is always the interest. Even the neighboring countries, they have their interest. But their interest does not override the nation agenda. But if you don't have a national agenda, that's where the problem comes. No national agenda, anything can happen. And that's why people will be saying it is United States. Yes, United States maybe they are tired, according to them, they say they are tired of the behavior of the regimes. Because they talk about rampant corruption, and this is the question that book asked, I will answer it later. And if you have no programs, if you don't get job for your own local people, is it USA who say don't employ your people? No. If you don't follow your own rules from your own constitution, it's neither United States nor China. So the problem is with us. We don't have a system. Since we just come in here and we begin forming government in 2005, all the government of the world that you have seen, they are being run, they are run like a business organization. And if it is run like a business organization, it must have a business model. A business model will define what objective you want to achieve. How are you going to achieve this objective? What is the requirement for you to achieve this objective? In terms of resources, it is a human resource, so which means you have to build the capacity of your people. Is it money? We will see the way you can get money. If it is the time also resources, which means you should have plan. When will it just be in? So the problem is here is not about the United States. If we are going to know that we have our own weakness, we don't have system, we begin developing our own system. Neither China nor United States, all of them, they will come and will be our friends. So that is the answer to that question. So I don't think that it is the problem is outside. The problem is us. Number two, you see, when people talk about, when you talk about the nation development involving and activities, the ideas, the programs of the country. And number one of the national development is patriotism. We are not patriotic, whether you are within the country or you are in the bush. We are not patriotic. Patriotism is number one, loving your own country. How do you love your own country? You provide activities or the requirement. If they need employment, give them. They need education, give them. If they need treatment, give them. If they need transport, build a road or a bridge or railway for them. So this is what the patriotism means, not about fighting to change the government, fighting to defend your seat, not about patriotism. So if we are patriotic, we love our own country, we love our own people, we solve what they need, there will be nothing called about USA or China. All of them, they are business people. You will meet in the markets and you will meet at the foreign policy. US may be wanting you to be saying yes to them if they want to sanction any country, they see it threat, you follow them. You agree. China will need a market for you, will be supplying their good, will come with their infrastructure, development project, they will come and do it, you pay their money. That's all about this country. So your own house, is already in mess, not because of these countries. So now let's come to Bok. Huh? So Joanna, let me answer Bok. I've seen many people have joined Medin Perche come in from Phoenix, from Tucson, okay. And with us, Malwiltiel is there from Beijing. Now, the issue of corruption just come in because no system. Let me tell you this, a human being is corrupt whatsoever. There is no human beings which is not corrupt. Or maybe Jesus that people have been talking about. But all of us in this world, we are all corrupt. The only thing that regulates our corruption is the system. No system, corruption exists. You have seen in some part of the country, some of you have been working with the private sector and NGOs and all this. You might be corrupt, but I can swear you have never taken even a $1 or one coin from those organizations. It does not mean you decide not to take, because the system is very strict. If you take that money, it will appear and will backfire on you. So without a system, corruption rules. So corruption just rules in the area where there is no system. So the issue is, are we willing to change the system to have our transparent system? That's what I've been talking about. Transparent, accountable tax system. We don't have. You see everything good. Like me now, I pay more than $100 as a tax to the government, and I have little money. There are those who are receiving 5,000. They receive many money. They pay much tax to the government, but that tax cannot even appear. What is collected from us here, just those who are working maybe with a non-profit organization, what we collect here may fade all the government employees. Let me tell you here, I can tell you, South Sudan cannot go more than 600,000 people being employed, the real people. The majority that is crowding our payrolls and our pay sheets is a ghost name. Like when I was in the university, I was working in the state government. I am very sure my name is still there in the pay sheet and they are receiving it. I work in the Ministry of Interior up to 2009. I'm very sure my name is still with them. They are still paying, receiving the money through my name. For the last 3 years, I've been elected in the University of Upper Nile. I think my name is still in the pay sheet. University of Upper Nile is still receiving my name. So the same chol is being paid by the same government 3 times, and I'm not receiving that money. The same to you, Joanna. The same to Bok. Maybe Bok, you are very young. You left South Sudan when still young. You were not employed. I know you. But with South Malwil, you have been working with several positions. Your name is still there in those spaceships now. Some have died long time ago. Some soldiers have been recruited, 100,000 that have been killed. Their name is still there. So, and you know, some of you, like those who are in Juba, yeah, I've seen some of you. Your name is with the local government. You are being paid there. You are also in Fire Brigade. You are in with the SPLA. You are with what Chamber of Commerce. Now, if your name appears 4 to 7 times in the same payroll, do you think that it is because you are corrupt? You are not corrupt because the system is not there. If there is a system, it could have been detected. That so and so is working here. You cannot be employed again. So building a system is the only way that we can abolish corruption. It's not about using gun, taking people to national security as a stolen money. If we have a transparent system and accountable, it is just a matter of somehow whether we detect a thief. And if we detect a thief, we just get his hand or her hand, we put him in cell, and then we apply the rule. He's sentenced whether 2 years, 5 years, or will be hung. That's our constitution allowed people to be hung. So that's how we can control corruption. Without the system, we will never go anywhere. Let me tell you, there are some countries in West Africa, like Nigeria. Nigeria has a huge deposits of fuel in Africa. But you see, people are talking about Abuja, they're talking about Lagos. It is only those areas, but majority of people are very poor. Why? The money go to individual pocket. If you are with the executive or you are the Senate or some few people, they get rich. You may get surprised. Somebody started a business yesterday. After 2 years, he become a millionaire or a billionaire. How do you think it's come? This guy must have breached some procurement policies And if you begin breach some procurements, you don't follow the procurement process, you begin paying people, you can get money. Some of you have companies that have collapsed because of that corruption. I know. Some years back, in 2012, you have some companies that involved in embezzling with SPLA and the Tura Saga. That is a rock problem in Kenya in those years. So, since there was no system, that's why this thing happened. But if there is a system, you will know that people are watching you and they will catch you and they will send you to jail. So corruptions can only be controlled if there is a system. So if we agree to develop a system, that's where things will work. Another question? Okay. So if you are all clear with the points, then, and if there is anyone who want to contribute anything, William Grang Majuk, Malwil Tiel, Panchol Ayul, Mading Perchek, Yona, and many of you, and Sister Ayak, plus Majuel, plus Abraham Mapiao. So if you want to contribute, plus all of you, if you want to add anything before I close this, then you can say it. Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, thanks you all. I think that's you. Yes? Thank you, thank you. So, all I've greeted you, all of you. You relax, enjoy your night in Phoenix, in US, in Beijing, or enjoy weekend in East Africa. Thank you.